It's an exciting day. You know why? Because we have a new incubator to set up. We have more than enough hatching eggs to put in the incubator. We're going to select the best eggs and wash them up and get them in the incubator after it's all unboxed, cleaned, sanitized, and set up in its new spot and been running. And the 2 incubators that we have with eggs in them, they are ready to be candled for the first time to see how many little embryos are inside of the eggs developing, which is so exciting to see, and I really hope that all of them have chicks in them. I know that's not typical, but I really hope so. So, join us on this exciting day, and we're gonna start with unboxing. Do you guys like play music when you're doing things that you do over and over again, and you just like to have a little music to dance to while you get your work done? Yeah, I totally do that all the time, so why not today, right? So I got my speaker and I got my playlist. Let's get to unboxing. Tonight, we're gonna let it up, babe. Tonight, we're gonna let it up. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it up. Got your head in a cloud, so delusional. In an ocean of all this emotion, rest be sure I'll be there. Looking for something I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall. We're all going live, still nobody knows, but I'ma choose what's right and take what comes and goes, and ain't no one in life holding me back no more. Dance with me, baby, you take away the pain. Dance with me, baby, you can lead the way. Dance with me, baby, a cure for the heartbreak. Dance with me and let the soul the record play. Let it play, baby. Let it play, baby. Cross the room, let's skip to the end. Okay, let's get it set up, see if it works. It's brand new, so it should work. Okay, putting the heating pad on a low setting. This is a different brand than I usually use. Trying it out. It's always good to have options in case the brand that you normally use goes out of stock or something. This incubator, the Manna Pro Nurture Right, is my favorite incubator. I have 2. This is my 3rd one, the newest one I've gotten. I get really great hatching rates in this incubator, and that's why when chick orders kept coming in and I needed another one, I got the same brand. I got the same thing. This particular incubator prefers the room temperature to be 80 degrees. I do not keep my house that warm, so I use the heating pad to provide that additional heat, just on a low setting, sometimes a medium setting depending on the location of the incubator and whether there's another incubator next to it. Also time of year. So it is something that I have to check the temperature of the heating pad, check the internal temperature of the incubator, and make sure that I'm getting it to the right temperature combination to keep those little embryos happy. Alright, so I'm going to plug in the power supply as well as the egg turner. That way I can verify that the egg turner works as well. Okay, moment of truth, let's plug it in. It's working! Okay, so plugging it in, that gets the fan going, gets the heater going, and that should dry out this incubator. The instructions say you gotta run it at least 4 hours before putting eggs in it. So I usually will wait like 24 hours, but I'm just going to be playing with this one, checking temperatures on the heating pad, checking temperatures on this. And once I get that perfect combination where this is at that 99.5 degree Fahrenheit that I need it to be, and it's holding steady, I will get those eggs washed and I will get them in there because I'm excited to hatch these eggs. Now those eggs, they have been stored in my storage room where I keep them about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I did take them out so that they can gradually come to room temperature before they go from room temperature, which is like 67 in my house, and then they jump to a 99.5 degree Fahrenheit incubator. So there is some adjustments to temperatures. So by taking that little step of allowing them to come to room temperature, it gets them a little bit closer to the incubator temperature so they can start incubating. Now to test the egg turner. So I'm gonna press the plus and the minus button up here. Holding them down at the same time should cause the egg turner to turn. So yay for working incubators. So our third incubator is up and running. So we're gonna let that do its thing for about 4 hours. I'm gonna make sure it's dry. I'm gonna make sure that the temperature inside is 99.5, that the temperature of the heating pad is not too hot, and I'll verify the egg turner works again before I put any hatching eggs in it. So exciting. Let's go candle those eggs and see if we have embryos developing. So here is the 2 incubators with our hatching eggs in there that we are going to be candling to see how many embryos are in here. So we do have to get these candled and see how many have embryos developing and how many are infertile. If they are not fertilized, we will remove them from the incubator. So before I do this, I always wash my hands really well, and then I remove the cover, candle each one, and I do it gently but quickly because I want to get them back in there with the cover back on so it doesn't lose too much heat and humidity during that time. So it's a gentle but quick process. Okay, my hands are all clean. It's better to do this in the dark so you can actually see with the flashlight inside of the embryo. That red light is from my brooder. I have baby chicks, so you might hear them peeping in the background. Here we go. Oh my goodness, the very first egg is unfertilized. So if you look, there's no development at all. No veins, just all bright yellow. I'm gonna put that egg aside. Second one. This one also appears to be not fertilized. Well, this is not a good start. I don't see any activity in here either. Alright, so 3 misses, and then this one has an embryo. Let's see if I can show you here. So it's actually moving around in there, which is pretty cool. It's an active embryo. Sometimes we get eggshells that are really dark and you really can't see inside. It doesn't look unfertilized, but at the same time, the veins are very hard to see that in there and see if we see changes along the way. Alright, so I see development in this one. Ooh, hard to see. Not seeing. Oh yeah, so I saw movement right away with this one. Alright, so I'm going to go through these quickly and then I will let you know what the final numbers are. Okay, out of 22 eggs, 16 had embryos developing, and then these 6 here do not have anything developing. They are not fertilized, which is highly unusual for our roosters, so I think I need to have a talk with them, find out what's going on, because usually I have like 1 egg per incubator that's not fertilized, but to have 6 just in 1 incubator, that's highly unusual. Now with roosters, fertility rate can decrease with age, so I'm going to have to monitor that situation with their fertility and see if we need to bring in another rooster for the breeding program. Hopefully not, because I really love Clifford and T-Bone. They do such a great job protecting the flock, so we're gonna see how that goes. Alright, incubator number 2. Let's hope this one's better. Oh, our first unfertilized egg in the second incubator. Here's our second one. Alright, out of 22 eggs in this second incubator, 3 of them were not fertilized, which I've realized makes sense because Miss Sandra D was injured and she was in my garage for over a month, and I recently put her back out with the flock, but when she was in the garage she was laying eggs every single day, and I did not put any of her eggs when she was in the garage in the incubators because they were unfertilized. However, now that she's been out with the flock and we've been getting eggs, I have been collecting all the eggs and I don't know which ones are hers, and so I bet you that these unfertilized eggs, the majority of them are Miss Sandra D's, and that they're not fertilized yet, because for a while there she was acclimating to the flock and she hasn't been with the flock very long. So I think that's the reason for the increase in unfertilized eggs in this case. So we're going to remove these 9 eggs and let these come back up to temperature, which the first one is now back up to temperature. Having the heating pad under it really helps with that. And this one's at 94 degrees, so this has to come back up. And I'll be adding some distilled water warmed up and added in here to get the humidity back where it needs to be. So we have 35 eggs in here that hopefully will hatch beautiful little embryos. This heating pad, it's a Conair, it is not working. Every time I check on it, it's turned off. So it must have like a safety in here that turns it off. So Sunbeam is the brand. That's the one I like to use for my incubators. And unfortunately this Conair, it's not going to do it. So I already have my incubator up and running. The temperature on the table here is at 70 for this incubator. It prefers to be between 74 and 80 degrees, and this is not warm enough for this incubator. So Amazon was able to get me something today within a few hours, which is amazing, but it's not a Sunbeam heating pad like I normally use. I'm trying something new. This is a seedling heat mat. This is supposed to warm up the area to between 70 to 85 degrees. I am hopeful that with this it's going to work well together, but I don't know, it's an experiment. I'm really hopeful that it works just as well as the heating pads I use. The reason I wanted to try this is because viewers have raised concerns about heating pads being used off-label for the 21 days of incubation when they are not designed to be used long-term. They're designed to be just used for short periods of time and then turned off. The heating pads that I use, they don't turn off unless you turn them off, and I have used them successfully for many hatches. However, I understand the safety risk, and so I wanted to try something that is produced that can be used for longer time frames. So let's check this one out. Didn't know we'd be doing 2 unboxings in one video. Let's see here. This package that I got did come with 2, and they did come in different sizes. I chose the 10-inch by 20-inch mat in the hopes that it would be large enough to sit under this incubator. So I'm just gonna see how it goes with just setting up the one. I'm gonna do a little switcheroo here. I can feel the coils in this pad. I'm going to plug it in. All right, now the instructions are on the heating mat. Actually, I can already feel it starting to warm up. There's no control or remote on it to change the setting, so I'm really hopeful that whatever setting it is on is going to be the right setting, because I can't adjust it like I can with the Sunbeam heating pad. I'm going to set up my little brooder thermometer on here. We'll leave that there. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes, and now this heating pad is at 84 degrees. It feels nice and warm. Incubator is holding steady at 99.5. Since this is the first time I'm using this heating pad, I am going to let this run overnight with this incubator and check the temperature in the morning, because rather than take the chance and put the hatching eggs in here, yes, the temperature reading is staying at 84, but you never know with heating pads, heated seed mats. I just want to play it safe and let it run overnight. And one, make sure it actually stays on. Two, make sure that it has consistent temperatures. And three, just overall in general that it's safe before I put the hatching eggs in. I'd hate to put the hatching eggs in and then have it overheat and cook the eggs, and that would just be terrible. But the plan is that this will go smoothly. It'll heat it up just right, and I can put those hatching eggs first thing tomorrow morning in, and 21 days later have an amazing hatch. Although we probably will still have a few infertile eggs in here because of Miss Sandra. But that's okay, we have accounted for having infertile eggs and certain eggs not hatching. That's just how it goes with incubation. Sometimes you have amazing hatches and sometimes you don't. There are a lot of factors involved with incubation, and you don't always get 100% hatch rate. And sometimes you do. You embrace it either way, because it is an amazing process incubating, hatching eggs, and getting beautiful baby chicks. Okay, it is the next morning, and I have been keeping an eye on this heating pad, and the temperature, it has been fluctuating a little bit on the seedling heat pad, but not on the incubator. So I'm taking that as promising. This morning it was at 82 degrees, and now it is currently at 84 degrees, which it was last night. So a couple degree fluctuation, not too bad. The incubator's holding steady at the 99.5, which I like to see. I am going to wash this brooder thermometer and wipe it down with some diluted bleach, and then place it in the incubator to make sure that inside the incubator is 99.5, just like the reading is telling me. And as long as that's a go, we will get those eggs washed and placed in the incubator. Alright, it's been 10 minutes. Let's see if we have a temperature inside this incubator on our brooder thermometer. It is at 99.5. So that's perfect. It's matching what the incubator is saying. So this is ready to go. Humidity is on point, temperature's on point. Let's go get those eggs washed. Alright, I have carefully selected the best eggs to wash to put in the incubator. I am going to wash them with tap water that is at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I'm going to spray them with a bleach solution that I'm going to make a 10% bleach fill to here, and then fill it with 100 degree tap water up to here. Mix that well. I'm going to spray them down and place them over here in their little egg trays so they can dry to get ready for the incubator. If you want more details on why I do this, I have a whole video about washing hatching eggs called Hatching Egg Cleaning Tips. You can check that out. So I check the temperature using a meat thermometer. And once it's at the right temperature, I fill it up. I'm gonna need some music for this.
All I want hands concealing what deep down I felt for you. Oh, I regret for losing the one who loved me, for who I can't go back to. Walking through all the dust and reason frame a past we simply let fade. Oh, what I don't know everything about me. 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 Save me from myself. I really need your help. I'm going under. Save me from myself.
All right, heating pad is at 84, incubator 99.5. Let's get these eggs in. Gorgeous eggs, ready to go. All right, let's do our egg turning test. Excellent. And now we're going to return it to factory settings. Then everything flashes and it starts calculating the temperature and humidity again. So this is ready. And now 21 days and we will have chicks hatching out of these eggs if all goes according to plan. Incubation can be tricky, especially when you're always having to make sure the temperature, humidity is the correct amount. And I'll be adding distilled water in here as needed to keep that humidity level right where it needs to be for the first 18 days. So I will be adding distilled water here as needed to keep the humidity level usually around 48 to 55%. I try to get right at that 50% if I can, but little bits of fluctuation is okay, and you try to avoid those spikes, which can be difficult, especially overnight when you're sleeping and things are happening with the humidity. But hopefully this seed warming mat will work out well with this incubator. It's still at 84, so all the products that I'm using for my incubation process, I'll link that below, so that way if you want to check out this seed mat or the heating pads or incubators, things like that, it is all in the description below. You just click that more button after the video title. So this turned out to be an exciting 2 days, but I'm happy that we've got the incubator up and running and the eggs in there. And if you haven't started your farm yet, what are you waiting for? Get your farm on.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you want a farm? A wicked awesome farm? Watch this channel to learn what to do. We love to farm and we'll show you. Yeah.